everyone, and welcome to the Nerd at Large Spring 2021 Anime Gauntlet Episode 6, Take 2. I am Jeff Mayo. This man right here, trying to figure out why the internet is broken, was broken, is Darby Hallman.
Spectrum is the antagonist of anime.
Oh, it all makes sense now. And across said internet is Alex Boone.
To defeat Spectrum, I will be the drill that will pierce the heavens. I was very short notice. I just did a Gurren Lagann quote.
This is the drill that pierced the heavens is pretty cool. It's not as good as your last quote.
Yeah.
And what was it?
It also sounds a lot cooler in practice than randomly saying it. Kind of sad.
Yeah, but you know, Spectrum, it may be powerful, but our love of anime is stronger.
It's true. It's true.
Our love of certain anime is stronger.
All anime are created equal. Strong words, I know.
Very, very the hottest take to ever be said in these microphones.
Yes.
Jeff, what the hell is this show?
This show is a show where we talk about anime that we have consumed. We started with 10 anime. We down to 6. We're only talking about 6 episodes this week. And how we got down to 6 was each week, when we talk about them, before we talk about each episode, we decided we're going to save a show or scar it. And by that I mean just throw it off a ledge. It's dead. Just like Scar from Lion King before us.
Yep.
The king of anime.
Yes.
And only one show can die per week. And the way a show is up to die is if at least two of us decide to scar it. And if a show is tied, we go to the wheel.
Yes.
Hasn't happened yet. May not happen this season.
Might not, but it's always lurking, ready if we need it. Ready to strike.
Yes, yes. So yeah.
Good. You did good, Jeff. Twice in a row. All right, this was about the time that Spectrum struck last time. Can we talk about 86?
Why, yes, we can. And, well, me and you already have what we have written down. So, Alex, go ahead and say what you think of 86.
Did I get it in? That was able to say
yes.
this time?
Whoa. The Spectrum doesn't have power here.
Yeah, we're saving it as well. Darby and I.
Yes. We show is boy. So obviously last week we got like the super bonkers crazy anime twist that AI are stealing human brains to power themselves, and it's like, yep, that's an anime. That's like a really just out of left field crazy twist. I think this episode, at least, and I know I've talked to Jeff a little bit and he agrees, like, I think this is showing that like I trust this show with these bonkers plot points, because I think that this week like was another way of them showing that it's like they can take this crazy thing and make it impactful and make it like seem really cool, even if on paper it sounds like completely bonkers, you know.
Yes.
Like I still think the execution of this show is like still really surprising to me.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Even with the crazy anime like plot that was introduced last week, the execution of it has been pretty spot on. Like even this week's with killing off 2 characters that really have not had that much screen time, but making it just still feel very impactful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, one of the ones they killed, I would say one of the 86 that got more screen time than the other ones. I don't think the girl has got
blonde hair.
Yeah, the girl that died got too much, but yeah, it's something I think they did really well with, like, as far as making you care about these characters, or as far as the way they're presenting these characters, is with that flashback scene in the beginning, is they just go into it. They mentioned that it's make it clear it's a couple months before they're just starting with this group, and they don't try. There are a bunch of characters there. You're like, I haven't seen you before in my life, and it's easy to see why. You're all dead. And they didn't like show that to us. Like, hey, these guys aren't here. They died. Right. Ooh. It's like, no, that just seemed more natural.
It did feel natural, and it also just kind of shows that all of these people, like, they're forced to kind of treat it like it's not that big of a deal when people die, because if they didn't, they would all lose their minds, basically. So you see that, like, their demeanor around each other still stays the same, even as they're like all slowly dying, and that like kind of on its own speaks volumes.
Mm.
And it kind of like, I like that they're kind of showing us some of these things out of order. Like they show the guy like snapping and screaming at her or whatever, and then you slowly kind of get more of the dynamics and get why that like every single one of them is probably on the edge of the rope, like on like very tense, about to crack, because it's just like horrific, the like slowly dying, like all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this show does a very, very good job of just making you care about people, even if you don't really know much about them or don't know their names or anything. Just the dynamic, they have that group dynamic, and they make you kind of care about the collective whole of all of them. So even if you don't really, really know all the specific parts, when any of them die, it feels like this whole group took a blow, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think is very, very strong. Just the character moments and stuff still is just not, I never expected it to be as strong as it is.
Yeah, especially well, this is the first time us seeing one of the 86 die since the reveal. We saw some die before, but now we get the context of, you know, why they're actually like, oh yeah, the whole them taking their brains thing.
Mm-hmm.
So the girl just going ahead and shooting herself in the head, and then Undertaker or whatever.
Undertaker.
Yeah.
Having
Right.
to kill that go and kill his friend while he's burnt to a crisp but still alive.
Yep.
And I was telling Jeff before, like, I really like the order they showed us this, because they showed us him shooting one of the guys like many episodes ago, but it wasn't until now that you really understand like why he's doing it. You probably just thought putting him out of his misery or something like that, but like the fact that they'll show something like way back then and then let you stew on it before you like really understand what's going on there. And still, my favorite thing about this entire show is I just still think that the way they pace scenes and the sound design is so good, because they still are using a lot of restraint where it's like almost every time someone died, it just went silent. And I think that was like super duper duper impactful. And even as simple as like the fact that like when she actually shoots the gun, it's silent, but then it's like when Lena was like hearing it later, so like that's when you hear the shot. I was like, there's something about they just like really know how to like make that sound design like really impactful, you know?
Yeah. I'm trying to think what else in the episode. Well, we saw the little flashback thing with Undertaker when he found his brother, headless corpse.
Yep.
And him hearing that and getting little flashbacks of, I assume that's when or of him getting strangled by his brother and his brother being very angry.
Yep. Imagine that being the last thing you hear in your that your brother says to you, and since his brother's probably one of the commanders, constantly hearing that all the time, always. You constantly hear your brother's last words, and it's him cursing you.
Trying to kill you.
Constantly.
Yeah.
Yeah, this guy is just like almost to a cartoonish level, like lives a very scarring, tragic life. It's like, again, if anyone has ever deserved to be emo anime protagonist, I think it's this guy.
Kind of has to.
It just wouldn't make sense if he either has to be completely psychotic or brooding and emo. He's like, those are the only two lanes for this man.
Yeah.
And I think me and Jeff had a very similar reaction whenever those like robots, like whenever this is like the clearest shot we've gotten of like some of the robots attacking, like rather than just like the drone looking ones. Like this was like humanoid looking things that like jumped on them. And again, I think that like leading up to this and even in this episode, they still don't show it very much. So the little bit they show, it like kind of not like scare, like I was terrified, but it kind of like startled me when I saw like the things running. I'm like, what the fuck is that? Because we haven't really seen them. And again, I think another version of the show would have been showing them all the damn time, but I think since they like have so much restraint, it makes it when they all jump on there. I'm like, whoa, those are creepy looking. Like, geez.
Yeah, what the fuck are these?
Yeah.
I'm curious to be some kind of explanation of that. Oh, that they're evolving or whatever and making these, or what exactly is.
That's what I'm still wondering if this is this gonna be like just AI evolving itself and that's the whole thing, or if there's still something else like controlling them or some other piece of that puzzle, or is it just the AI is just getting smarter and smarter and smarter. I mean, I can see it going either way, but I'm expecting and kind of hoping there's still gonna be some other like thing out there controlling them in some way.
Well, I do know we're probably in for some sadness next week, because next week they're going, that's pretty much a suicide mission.
Yeah.
Destroy that base. Some shit's going to happen with that.
Yes. And then something has to come to a head in actual Lena's in Racist City. Because I feel like every single time like she goes and talks to that guy, it's the same.
Uncle.
Yeah, it's the same thing of like she views them as humans, he views them as tools, and that like, and it's like, they're really hammering home how shitty the people in the city are, but it's like I feel like we haven't like moved forward on that. Like something one of these weeks, or at least by the end of the season, has to happen where she just leaves and goes to them. I would have to imagine.
I can't remember. I might have missed it. Has she mentioned to them about like the rest of the people about the whole this not going to end in 2 years thing?
No, she has not mentioned.
To her commanders, I don't think so. I don't think we've gotten any of that.
Feel like that's something you should mention.
Maybe.
Sounds important, but odds are the way this is going to work is they know.
Yeah,
and
they're
just they're like, eh.
Yeah, it is the same way that most governments know that we're slowly killing the planet, but like, yeah. That's what I guess I'm mostly right now. What I have my eyes on, like what exactly is going to happen with it, is her with her uncle, and just like how that tension is going to unravel. It's like, that tension is going to come to a head at some point, and then what exactly is the point? And I'm not saying this a bad way, but like what is going to ultimately be the point of her friend that they keep going that she's talking to, and like it's always like her friend's like looking for a partner or whatever, but it's like I feel like there has to be more to that plot at some point. And not that I haven't enjoyed the plot, I'm just saying when I look at like things that I'm expecting in the future.
I love how you see it in 3 different ways. How like the 86 have like the posters of all the different handlers they have with them marked out. Her friend has all her I wouldn't say lovers, I guess prospects. Crossed out, and now Lena also has her little sticky notes that she is not crossing out, putting away. They've I think it's also been done one other time. I guess you can count Undertaker's little putting away the piece of scrap into the thing as well.
Yeah,
there's a lot of instances of that.
Oh, yeah, sure, yeah. I didn't think about that. There's a lot of juxtaposition with that. Yeah, I still do think they handle the like flipping back and forth between these two like polar opposite people or whatever, and like the way they live their lives, but it's not in the completely cartoonishly like all these people are evil, all these people are good way that it could be, because you have like you care about Lena, you care about her friend and everything, even though like a lot of the people around them are horrible and the things around them are horrible, but it like touches on a lot of like classism stuff. But I think it does it in a pretty cool way for something like this. And I still like really appreciate how kind of slow paced this is going and how character driven it is. It's just a cool thing. I was like telling Jeff, I'm like, this is easily the biggest surprise of all this for me. And like this right now might be like my number 3 right now after 2 year Eternity.
Tokyo Revengers.
After Tokyo Revengers, obviously.
Tokyo Revengers.
Mashiro.
Snow White Notes.
Yeah, Mashiro. Like R.I.P.
You just gotta handle your love for it. You have to get rid of it.
Yeah, I've actually secretly been rewatching them over and over again every week.
Hogging.
Yeah, I actually bought the Shamisen. Oh boy. Well, I can't wait for Alex to make my D&D character. Like someone just keeps trying to give her shamisen or something. She's like, no,
of course.
I don't want to learn this fucking instrument.
Well, let's see how we feel about Megalo Box Nomad.
I was about to do like, but that's not. I can still never remember what the like intro music exactly sounds like. It's like Spanish. It's dope when it gets to the end. It's like.
I just watched it before we got on, so
Yeah.
I got it in my head.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay, Alex. What's the verdict on Megalo Box?
Safe.
Oh, whoa. I was scared there for a little bit.
That would be absolute top 10 anime betrayals of Alex. Got rid of it. Alex, what you think?
It's still just real good.
It
Real
is.
good. It's also kind of cool, like starting off, get to see like Yuri's and Joe's dynamic again.
Mhm.
And Yuri's student, what's his like lie?
Luke?
Green hair man.
Yep.
Green-haired bun man dynamic that we again didn't get to see since they decided to have a season off screen.
Yes. True.
Yeah. And it was kind of cool, little like nostalgic, whatever, to like see the a big arena fight, the arena boxing thing or whatever. Like this episode definitely felt more like a season 1 episode to me, like not in a bad way. It was just like it was a cool like, okay, yeah, we're kind of back in that vibe here,
Yep.
Even Joe's demeanor was like a lot different. He was just like, oh yeah, some actual Megalo boxing. Hell yeah, let's do it. Fixing up this house, yeah, that can wait.
Yeah, I love that you just put that aside. He's like, oh yeah, fuck, let's just go.
Let's go box.
You right.
I'll put my like emotional like redemption story on pause for a second. Let's go throw some hands. Yeah, but
Also,
Yeah, go ahead.
God.
Go aheid. No, you go ahead.
I also just like how all the kids are just taking it differently. Like one the like reporter kid just literally just doesn't care. He's like, yeah, Joe's back, cool.
Yep.
And like Sashio just like literally having a breakdown still, just like refusing.
Yeah, well,
Accepting
yeah,
things.
say it to the reporter kid's pretty much like, hey, I can get some money out of this, so,
Why not? Money,
Yeah.
money. Yeah.
And Joe's kind of like, okay. That's what you want to do.
The chef man's just kind of there, and
Yeah. He kind of just goes with the flow.
yeah. And yeah, it seems like the girl, whatever her name is, doesn't seem very happy about it either.
No.
But yeah, I'm glad that they're not just like on a united front. That's pretty cool. And it's still like I was saying last week that we still don't really know exactly how Joe feels about like everything that's going on right now. I still feel like that's kind of true. Like we got a lot of like Joe's seems happier for the moment, like doing things like this, but it's still like, I'm wondering still how does Joe feel about himself right now as a person? It's like I still feel like the demons definitely are still there. It's like still like lurking around the corner any second. But this was kind of a nice like we get to step aside from that for an episode.
Yep, we got to see CEO lady again and her brother.
Yes,
They're
which 100%. I mean, at the end of season 1, they were already talking about that we want to use your technology for military super soldiers, and then now they have like some like serum technology thing that turned this guy from a paraplegic to a like super strong boxer. Like 100%.
It was nanobodies.
Okay, nanobodies.
Literally
nano
nanotech.
strips.
Nano strips.
We get melly here, but like
This
we're
man
definitely
is
going
half
towards
biotic.
that's going to be like military something, right? There's going to be some plot point where like they're trying to do something with it.
Maybe I don't see it being that big of a plot there. I feel like it might get mentioned and stuff. I don't see this going like in a militaristic route or
Joe
even
goes to war.
Yeah, I don't see that really taking precedent. It might be a thing or an issue in the background. I don't think it'll really.
What I'm expecting to happen is that because they kind of mentioned the fact that this guy kind of was very mediocre when he boxed before, but now he's like a god, and whenever he's on the ropes, he kind of comes from behind. I'm just expecting to pretty much like, oh, these are like steroids shit. This guy be drugging up.
He doping with
Yeah.
nano drones.
Even more than
Metal Gear.
I guess the the gear stuff already does to you.
Yeah. Or there's going to be like some horrible, adverse side effect to this for him or something. Yep. And then obviously Yuri's sitting right there in a wheelchair, and it's like, well, this man just went from paraplegic to Megalo Boxer, so
Yuri, main villain at the end, takes nanotechnology and boxes Joe.
We just get right back, like somehow we were just like right at the same thing again.
Talking about Metal Gear, they literally play out scenes of Metal Gear 1 where Yuri's just liquid. He suddenly talks a lot more. It is very flamboyant.
And then he starts like referencing things that you've watched on Crunchyroll, like you, the viewer, have watched and everything.
No, he's like, "Have you ever heard of Big Chungus, Joe?"
Oh god. What did we think about? What did you think about Yuri's about Green Bun Man or whatever?
I think it's fine.
Yeah, it was fine. Kind of like one episode, hard to judge. He seemed like a fine character so far.
Yeah, especially again, like, we kind of keep on mentioning the fact that it feels like there's a season kind of that we missed, where these guys know each other and everything, but we just didn't get to see that stuff. We'll obviously see it there, and just kind of it was nice to see, I guess, his reason to be obsessed with Joe. It's like, okay, yeah.
But it's not a copycat reason as Yuri. That's the only thing I was like. As soon as that happens, like, okay, I'm fine.
Yeah. Like, you beat my teacher. I want to beat you because obviously can't fight my teacher. Also, so yeah, I feel cheated out of the last match. So let's go again.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was also like Yuri and Joe's dynamic was a little interesting because it was definitely like, they didn't really talk much. There was kind of, he was there and then he was helping with the thing, but we didn't really get to see like too much like one-on-one with them or anything. Yeah, I can't remember. And it seemed like there was definitely like some antagonism there, which is different than like the end of the first one. It seemed pretty happy-go-lucky. Like, it was like they were obviously rivals in the ring, but it seemed like they were kind of friends completely by the end. So it's like, there's definitely, I know Joe's wronged everyone else, but I guess I don't exactly know what the deal is with him and Yuri exactly.
Yeah. I guess we see if there's something else. Maybe he's kind of spun off from what happened with everyone else.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Still don't exactly know.
What the end game is for the season.
Yeah, other than the like kind of overarching things we've talked about, but exactly like how exactly we get where, it's not abundantly clear. But now that we are veering more back into like boxing arcs, I do think we're gonna end in a somewhat similar place to one. I think it probably will end with a boxing tournament in Megalomania or something. But I'm expecting there to be like a lot more else going on because this season is not really content to, so far has not been content to just kind of play it safe. But
I need Joe to put on Chief's gear.
Yeah, he still does have it, doesn't
he? Yeah.
Yeah, do it, coward.
Yeah.
But they gotta do it in a really epic moment with some like sick ass like hip hop beats behind it. That's
introducing Gearful Joe.
Beautiful. I meant Gearful Joe.
Gearful Joe.
Gearful Joe. You heard it? There we go.
Yep.
Nailed it.
Well, let's see if there is any boxing in Odd Taxi.
Man, so much happens. There could have been. I don't know. I could have missed it.
Yeah. Righty, right. Okay, Alex.
Let me think. Yeah, save.
Okay.
Such a hard decision.
Yep. Yeah, save.
It's
save
like,
all our children.
It's really struggling,
Yeah.
Nothing's
going on.
I'm so bored in it, I definitely wasn't like, screaming at the TV when it ended because I wanted to keep going for another 30 minutes.
Hey, that pop group kind of fucked up, right?
Yes.
Kind of fucked up.
Yeah, boy. Pretty messed up. He's like,
we knew the Monkey Man was fucked. I mean,
oh yeah. To be honest, it was like slightly mild compared to what I think it could have been, or that it will be. You know, it's his reckoning is not over. His reckoning.
It looks like he's about to be tortured for his body parts. I was like, what the?
By a rapping porcupine.
Yeah.
Which that fucking porcupine going to when the camera just hung on Onokawa, just sitting there staring at him. I don't know why this animated figure that was not moving whatsoever was so fucking funny to me.
Yeah, we've been talking about for the last couple weeks. It's like from the opening and the posters and stuff. Like, okay, this porcupine guy, he's the only one we haven't seen. And oh boy, what an entrance for this guy.
It makes sense that it's the rival to
Dobu.
as soon as the last scene happened, they said his name. It's like, oh, okay, but I should have figured. Especially since the opening, Dobu's chasing him. Like, oh, okay, that makes a lot of sense, actually.
Yeah.
So I didn't think that was him.
It seems perfect. It seems like this man, like, it seems like Dobu would loathe this man, like, personality-wise. It seems like he would absolutely hate this man. So,
Indeed.
Kind of excited to see. I'm excited for Porcupine Man to be a going concern because he was just so fucking weird. And obviously a lot of other things happen, but like we'll jump around. But I think we definitely, before we like trail off and other things, we have to talk about the Odokawa with good Damien, whatever, good police officer man,
young Damien.
And that whole thing with the girl who may or may not be in the closet because shit's getting,
or she might be pulled out of the bottom of the lake now.
Yeah,
true.
Maybe.
Might have been the person who just got pulled out of a lake.
Yeah, so I mean, what are we thinking? Because like,
it's too obvious to be the girl being pulled out of the lake, but it's so like obvious that it still could be, because I feel like it could.
I get what Alex is saying. Yeah, it's too obvious to be the girl and the closet to be her, but it's also now too obvious with all this for the girl being pulled up to be the missing girl. So it's like, let's go. Which one's which? What's
I'm having a very hard time pinning this one down. And the fact that Alex also is having a hard time. Usually Alex is very sure about himself.
I can usually figure plots out. I don't know. Odd Taxi's pretty odd. It's kind of hard for me to lock down what's about to happen.
Because like my immediate thought was, because they're obviously hinting so hard that like, is she in there? Is she in there? Is she in there? That like yeah, it seems so obvious. It seems too obvious for that to be true. My immediate thought was that she is in there and he does have her in there, but like he is like protecting her from something, or there's a good reason why or something. Like it's not like a nefarious thing, but it is true that she's in there.
I find it weird that if she is in there, why did he tell the manager he drove one of the girls before? Why would he give it away to the manager whenever he drove away? Like, yeah, I did have the girl with me at some point. That seems a very weird thing to do if you are hiding out the girl in your house.
True.
Telling them where you dropped off.
That's
why I find weird.
Did someone ever see? I can't remember exactly what happened with the dash cam footage. Did they like see the girl in there?
Nobu has seen it, so Nobu knows the answer, but they haven't said.
Okay. And okay. Yeah. Well, and it's also like Odokawa in that room, like, did he know that the cop was going to get distracted from dead body or something there? Because if he didn't, then he was about to discover this girl in the closet. Like, I mean, he was literally about to open the door. So what was Odokawa's plan there?
I feel like
that's just oh god.
I feel like it's a stretch to know that at that moment that was going to happen.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
I don't know what he was thinking there necessarily, but yeah, I don't necessarily think, oh, dead body's going to distract him.
No, I mean, yeah, I don't either. I mean, it could be like the writers could take a real bad turn and do that, but whatever. I'm just trying to like think of like, if the girl is in there, then what was the logic behind this, or was he about to just like fucking knock his ass out as soon as he opened the door? It's like,
He had a cup.
My thing is, I think it might have been one of those things. He was taking a calculated risk that he was not going to open that door, and it was just going to be all fine. He just took a calculated risk that, hey, if he comes in my house, maybe he won't open that door. And whenever he started reaching for it, he was probably panicky inside and just got very lucky that he left. Time he did.
I think
my guess.
I think Otoko is smart enough to know, hey, if I say no, then
he's gonna be like, all right, well, I'm definitely looking now, or I'm definitely gonna go get a warrant or something.
Yeah. So,
but they leave it so fucking open, and then when he goes over there and says "good girl," it's like, oh my god, like again, it's too fucking obvious. Like I definitely.
Why should it just be his dog or something?
Yeah, there's.
Why should it be an actual animal?
Yeah.
yeah. Which we'll get to that in a minute, but yeah, well, and yeah, I kind of forgot what I was gonna say, but yeah, it seems too obvious. They want you to think that. I think the last episode of Odd Taxi is going to be a big like revealing all the things that were going on behind the scenes, and if you were paying attention enough, you could have got. But we're gonna be like, oh shit, fuck, it's like, and it's gonna like piece all that together. But I am fully on the Odokawa is just imagining all these animals now.
I mean, they literally pulled up his brain scan.
Right.
So.
Yeah. They did that, and when Dobu was like, "What? How could you tell it was me? Was it my build?" I'm like, okay, well, if they were all just animals, it wouldn't be your build. It would be the fact that you're a fucking ape. It'd be like. And they still went back with the whole like he can pick people out of a crowd, and they said like, yeah, we need to fix Odokawa and shit his brain. It's like, yeah, this man is like, there's something wrong with him.
Yeah.
100%.
I mean, it's been cool that we've been on the scent for multiple weeks, and we got the more subtle hints. So now that when the heavy-handed hints are coming on, we can feel superior and nice.
Yep. Yeah, I'm curious. It's like if we didn't think about that, like we'd be wondering, what does that mean exactly, or how quickly we would be able to like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
it's easy for us to get there when we have that in our mind for weeks now.
Yes.
Literally everything Okawa says, like, I see. Okay, next. I need to go back to the first episode. Whenever he mentioned the nurse being an alpaca to his monkey friend. They see the monkey friend's reaction to that. Really curious. She's the only alpaca in town. Or does he? I think he says that to her, actually.
Yeah.
That happens while they're in the taxi, so I need to go back and see what her reaction
She may not have much of a reaction because since she's...
she might know.
Yes, Gariki's the assistant. She might, kind of know it, so she's kind of like not fazed by it.
Yeah.
True.
I wonder, do you think there's going to be anything where other things about what's going on is in his head, or is it just going to be that?
I think it's mostly the animal.
Yeah.
I'm hoping
it's at least right now, they haven't hinted at anything that I can see. Yeah.
If it goes full Shutter Island, then that would be kind of weird.
It would. Mm-hmm. No, I mean, I have more faith in the show, just mostly making conversation.
Yeah. I'm trying to think what happened. We have Dobu and Otokar chasing Hippo Man.
Yeah, Hippo Man's so dumb. Like, why? Why is he doing this?
And Dobu,
even his classmates are like, yeah, he's a coward. Like, yeah.
So Otokar was definitely on film with Dobu now, and that's about to be plastered onto everything because Dude Man had a camera, Hippo Man had a camera.
I guess it depended because Otokar was a couple steps away. If he was in the shot.
He looked right up at it, but maybe I'm wrong. I definitely
it could just be from the angle too. You can't really tell. Oh
no, I think there's a good chance that happened. I'm just saying there's a chance that
there is.
He was a little away from Dobu.
Yeah, but that was my immediate thought was Otokar was gonna everyone's gonna be after him now too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's already kind of accepting the fact he's probably going to go to jail.
Yeah, he did straight up say that.
Yeah, Dobu almost kills him, man.
Almost kills him. Completely innocent cosplay.
Yeah.
yeah, again, these type of like tangle of mystery things or whatever is again not what I expected from this show either. I was really looking forward to this show, but certainly it was like, oh yeah, it's gonna be kind of a slice of life, like different plots every week type thing. It's like, oh no, this is just like a really well put together mystery. It's like, I want to recommend this to Ginny and Wolfie. I think you can recommend this to non-anime people for sure. It's just like really well written.
Mm-hmm.
I love it to death.
Indeed. Well, Dorian, let's see how you feel about the newest episode of Shadow's House. Still want to say Shadow House.
Shadow House is just a better name, and I have Shadow House written there, and it's there every single week. And I haven't changed it, so it's good. Yeah.
Well, it's one of those things. I don't think Megalo Box is pronounced Megalo Box. I think it's actually
Megalo Box?
Megalo Box. But no, it's Megalo Box.
But it's Megalo Box.
It's Megalo.
All right,
Shadow's House is Shadow House, and it's safe.
It's safe. Okay.
Hey.
Yay.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, someone else start this time.
All right. Maybe. Like the episode, definitely was slower. I guess slower pace, for lack of a better word, than I expected.
Yes.
It's just funny. I think we say that like every time. No, bro.
Yeah.
It is a very slow-paced show. It's dribbling you the lore.
Yeah. But it was that I really enjoyed, and it just kind of, I think it was kind of coming off what happened last week. I expected it to kind of wrap up and not take multiple episodes, I guess. No, that's not, I like what they're doing here and everything, and it did reveal, a couple more potentially interesting mysteries to it.
Yes.
Kind of like Odd Taxi, like once we get to the end of this season, I know Shadow House is definitely ongoing, so we may not get everything answered, but the last couple episodes will be wild for these shows.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can
it's,
see.
Cool to.
No, you go ahead, Alex. You're good.
I was gonna say it's cool to see that like Kate is not the only shadow with powers, and the powers do seem to vary.
Different.
So it's not just like Kate is wonderful for just being Kate. No, like every shadow has these powers, and they use them in different ways, and that's part of the debut is like judging these kids based on how well equipped they are with these powers.
Yeah.
And for some reason, Edward, the main doll, has a big grudge against Kate. That's probably Kate's family or something.
I was curious about that when he was talking about Kate in particular. I was wondering if it was against Kate in particular, or was it he needs to fail someone kind of thing, and Kate was at the bottom at the in a minute ago was at the bottom.
It feels like he was targeting Kate out to begin with, because that's what everyone was talking about. So it makes me think inside the shadows there's probably different either family branches or just divisions, etc. And Edward's division is probably very against odds with Kate's.
Yeah, I think it seemed like a little of both. It seemed like he did need to fail someone, but they also, I got the vibe there's something in particular about Kate / Emilico that he was against. And I definitely, it is still going very slowly, but from the beginning to now, we have unraveled a good bit, and we have pulled back the narrative scope multiple times to the point now we finally got some shots of the actual people behind the the higher ups or whatever, not Lord
or adult
Grandfather.
shadows.
Adult shadows. Yeah. So you got a little piece of that. It kind of reminds me of Promised Neverland, where it will show you a tiny little clip of outside the thing, and then be all right, now we're back in. So you have a little bit of mystery as to what's going on, but then keep laser focused on these characters. I'm now what I'm wanting to know is we've now basically learned that the Shadow Masters that we know, the kid Shadow Masters, are they really don't know what the hell's going on either, and they're also being tested. It's we felt like the dolls are being tested. It's no, they're just as much in this pen being tested, and they don't know anything either. I'm still wondering what is the ultimate thing that they are being tested for? What are they being vetted out end goal for, by these people and this Lord Grandfather and everything. It's like that's what I'm wondering now. That's my central thing that I want to know now.
Yeah.
Well, what the show likes to do is raise questions and want answers for those questions, but then answer different questions they didn't know you needed.
Yeah.
And then drag you along those questions. And it's really good. Like every episode gives you something a little bit more, but never answers your core question, just keeps dragging you along.
Yeah.
But it does give you answers, just
Yep.
not to the ones you expect.
Yeah, it is still, it's very well made. It's just like you really have to be in with that like slower pace, which I am for sure. I think it's always there's always going to be a little tinge of like, yeah, but I want a little bit more. But like Alex said, I mean, every time they answer a new question or like bring a new piece, I am interested and I'm invested, I don't think I could just like stop the show because like I do want to know.
Yeah.
Even if it's not necessarily the most exciting every single week, So, yeah.
I wonder if redhead girl's gonna cut off blonde guy's head.
I hope so. I'm waiting for the moment that we like get like the oh shit, like you actually went horror, you went gore and horror at some point.
Yeah. So I kind of noticed when watching the opening. Did the opening change some? I feel like there's a couple extra little things in there. Like,
was there? I didn't
notice anything. No.
Edward was in there, and then I felt like there was a couple, maybe the older shadows in there, and then this might have been a bit in there. Just another scene with Emilico coming out as some kind of slime thing. That might have been in there before, though.
I think the adult shadows were definitely there before. I maybe just didn't realize who Edward was. So
Edward, I don't know if it was in there. I do remember him in this one. It's just I just figured I just didn't see him in the previous one. Just because I didn't know who he was.
The adult shadows have been there since at the very beginning.
Yeah,
they like in the intro.
Or maybe it wasn't I don't know. I remember there was like a little section that's like this stretch feels new.
You might be right. You might be right. Yeah.
Anything else fun?
Outro music still slaps so hard.
Yes.
By far my favorite.
I'm a fan of both the intro and outro.
Yeah, they're both great.
Oh yeah, they're both good, but I think the outro is my favorite out of all the outros.
I'm curious to see how our best intro outro
again outro I don't think is a competition. I don't think it's particularly close. I think this is the one, but yeah, it would.
Intro, I wonder like.
Intro is closer.
We'll figure out.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what else. Oh yeah, Rum coming out of her shell a little bit more.
Yeah. Definitely gonna. Yeah. They're like, I think they're doing a very good job of making you like care about her. She's like almost annoying in her like shyness, but never quite gets there. And I am endeared. But it's like there's definitely gonna be. She's gonna have some moment, I think, for sure, when she saves someone or something. But it's like I definitely get like there's gonna be like a Lord of the Flies type situation where these like dolls are gonna start killing each other. They're gonna start getting more violent and stuff towards each other. I mean, the hostilities are already like super high, and I think like Draco Malfoy looking ass boy is gonna he's gonna pull some shit and. It's gonna,
Yeah, that's what I'm curious. Like, how far will the show go with that stuff?
I still don't know. I still can't read this show.
Because we just last week got a girl getting whipped.
Yeah.
So
I think they're not. I still think ultimately the show's not gonna be afraid to like. I think there's gonna be a moment this season. It might be like at the very end where it's like. Okay, this is rated R, like for whatever anime version of that. It's like I think that even though, and I might be wrong because again we have not seen much of that, but I still do think that I think they're still saving that basically.
Yeah. And Dude Man who blew himself out of the barrel already failed. Like he was supposed to like come out without any dirt on his person, and he is full city.
Yeah, the lot too when he did it there, it's like, can I supposed to be dirty?
Failed.
This. What's fun? How they gonna get her out of that bird cage?
I don't know. I like it. Well,
you got a wheelbarrow.
Well, I guess going with the whole out to get Kate at Emilico, the guy can blow shit up. Like, this seems to be a little more extreme than my case. Well, okay, bye.
You're in a small wooden barrel that you can just easily blow up. I'm sure. I mean, Kate's probably gonna have to get herself out of that cage. What the fuck's Milako gonna do with her wheelbarrow?
She's gonna ride it up there.
Push it uphill.
Yep.
And then they barely got up the road. Like,
With the power of friendship.
with the power of friendship, though, they did.
It's because the magical girl show. But the rated R kind.
Yeah.
Which is most of them nowadays.
Madoka Magica, let's go.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's fucking go. Yeah. This is good shit.
Yep.
Oh my god.
Let's see how good of shit is Tokyo Revengers. You know what I'm saying?
Let's see.
Get you riding off this board.
God. Peasant writing over here. Jeff still erasing. Alex, you excited to D&D?
Hell yeah. I'm excited to D&D.
All right, Alex.
And no, Alex, I'm excited for the Save Derby. So I'll scar it just for him.
I also scarred it.
I'm honestly still pretty fine with it, and I might watch this on my own time later on once the series is fully out, because I might have more enjoyment that way. But as of right now, it's too slow. Like, everything's happening too slow.
Well, and I think as far as like, since we're watching all these shows week to week, I feel like the flaws of some of the lesser shows shine more when we're comparing it to the 5, spoiler alert, for To Your Eternia soon, that are alive, as far as like, pacing and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Because,
I could probably look by some of the stupid stuff if I was just watching it all at once and without anything else I'm bouncing it off of.
Yeah, because, like, again, we mentioned it. 86 and Shadow House are pretty slow pace as well. That's a strength of those shows as well. Yeah. It's hurting Tokyo Revengers.
Yeah.
And I know for Daria it's a lot more than that.
I really hate the show at this point. I hate is a strong word, but I really, really want to stop watching it. And I thank you, gentlemen, so much. For
the RB watched it a couple hours before we recorded, and he watched, I guess, the first 5 minutes. Like, elementary school gangsters.
I was like, all right. It was already stupid enough when it was middle schoolers. Now the elementary schoolers are gangsters out like punching each other
tattoos
and getting head tattoos. I'm like, fucking, please save me. It's like, and it's just like, I don't know. Like, yeah, you're exactly right. You were talking about like the slower pace hurts the show, because I think that like every episode feels like guy on his knees crying and screaming and like talking about the like. I feel every single show, even when it makes no sense or it's like halfway through like the first fourth of the show, he has I believe in you. We can really do this. Every single fucking week, and like so much of it is just like kind of just being like over dramatic. I don't know, it's like it's at like a 10 in the like drama and screaming thing all the time. It's kind of the complete opposite of 86 to me, where it has no restraint. It's just like everyone is screaming and over dramatic and melodramatic at all times, so like I stopped really caring about the strife they're going through, you know. And do you want to buy some followers, Jeff?
Let's go for it. How much can $1 get us?
I don't know. I guess we'll have to find out. Yeah, and the whole like, I'm just getting really tired of seeing people like punch each other too. And like, I don't feel sorry for any of these people because they're all shitheads. That's also the other thing, is I feel like I'm supposed to like feel sympathy for these people and the things they're going through. And I'm like, you're all just like go live normal lives and stop fucking doing this. You're fucking 12. Stop. And I'm like, okay. All right. Rant over. I really don't like this show.
But Draken was raised in a brothel. What other choice did he have?
Sure was. And did that woman ask this like
elementary
school kid if he wanted to jerk the hand job?
She did.
Oh yeah, she
did. Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, I'm done. Y'all can go for it. I mean, did y'all actually want to kill this show, or was it like a mercy thing for me? I'm fine.
It was super slow pace, and it was eating up my time. And it's one of those things I would probably enjoy this show if I was watching it all together. week to week, it's just kind of there.
Yeah.
Like like I said, I kind of just want things to happen. And unlike other slow shows, it doesn't really give me anything like from week to week. It's like there's some episodes I'm like that's really good, and other episodes they were an episode.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things I don't mind killing it, but it's something I probably would watch. Oh man.
It's one of those things I might say I go back to, but probably never will.
Yeah. It's one of those things I have to be like literally nothing, and I'm
Yeah.
like,
Or
sure.
I just hear from other people of like, you know, who might have similar opinions as far as where we're at on the show right now. So like, no, it's really good later and all that. Like, you know, it's crazy and starts to get moving, all that kind of stuff. I feel like right now what was holding it for me, or you know, pulling it along for me, was its premise is still really good, and they have some cool ideas to what they do as far as like the general structure of the way they do things, but the actual substance of it could use some work.
Yeah.
with
Plus,
you.
the main character is not great.
No.
Person. Like I think I don't mind the other characters. Not that there's any other character I kind of dislike, but the main character is just kind of there.
I feel
Okay.
like I think we hit on this a little bit last week when he was talking to Hina. She mentioned, "Oh, you're the adult you now." Like, I'm not seeing any difference between this adult him and really any of the other middle
Not
schoolers.
really.
I mean, and
No.
he doesn't seem too much older or act too much older when he's in the future,
No.
or really look that
Yeah.
much older.
Yeah. And like I'm kind of tired of him acting so surprised every time he goes back in time. Now we have to have like a 3 to 5 minute scene of whatever situation he came back into, but it's never actually an interesting situation. It's just like, oh, he's here, he's on the bike. Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
last time he almost had sex. That's interesting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a plot we needed.
You know, what do you want to do?
Plot's
Come
a
back in a
strong
situation.
word,
He has a
Darby.
gun in his hand, robbing a bank.
That would be interesting.
It would be different.
Because I mean, again, like not to reiterate last week, but like the sex with the girl thing again. If they had like explored that to be like, oh, middle school him is going buck wild with this new like future he made for himself, and it's like that's causing other problems. But no, it just seems like it was just a weird gag so that you could have the "you're cheating on me" thing or whatever. Like that seemed like the literal entire purpose of it. It had no like story substance to it whatsoever. It was just kind of pointless, you know.
Time travel is complicated, Darby.
No, the show makes it kind of simple in a
I
way that's
know.
very uninteresting to me.
No, I agree with you. The ramifications of what this stuff does should be a little more crazy, which again was part of the whole premise thing. It's like there's a lot of promise with this general premise, but again,
I agree,
like,
yeah.
how they handle it in a lot of cases could use work.
I think the premise of this one on paper was like way stronger than like the premise of 86, but I think
Yeah.
like this shows what execution can do. Like I think like this show could be executed differently and be like really really good, you know. But
That's the main reason I was giving it more time before I even started killing it, because I wanted to see like what they could do with the premise.
And
I
I'm sure
usually
on
give
paper,
shows
like
way
when
too
I've
much
seen like flash forwards of like they're in like Nazi uniforms and stuff, like this is obviously gonna like go somewhere. It's gonna get crazy, and I think there's definitely gonna be cool things that happen in the show. But like from a character moment to moment thing, there's no way in God's name I can make it that far because it's like I just don't care about the core characters. But like, yeah, there's definitely merit to like I think you know the story itself is probably pretty cool.
Dude. Well, guys, time to talk about the final show of the week, which is To Your Eternity. To Eternity and Beyond.
Well, that was weird, huh? Right? We're saving this. shit. We're saving this shit.
Yeah, that was weird.
That was weird.
Oh. Fushi's learning how to speak. He can say his sentences now.
Yep.
Yeah, he did. He did learn how to like sentence structure what seemed like pretty damn fast.
I think he actually is very like the Fushi himself actually is very very smart.
Yeah. Well, and
Like,
I feel
he does pick up things very fast.
Yeah.
I feel like time in this show is a little weird. Because I don't know if you guys remember last.
Yeah, it was 6 months. Like
Yeah.
the, episodes with March and all that. It was over
It
a
was
6 month
6
time.
months. Yeah.
And so I think a mixture of, Fushi's just kind of smart in general because he's a god orb thing.
Yeah.
So him learning stuff factor, I can believe anyway. And who knows how long they actually traveled with each other.
Yeah.
They traveled across a continent pretty much.
I mean, I was joking
been
about it.
another half
Like,
year.
as soon as he like turned and started speaking in sentences to her, I was like, what the fuck? Have they been traveling for years? It was like, this seems like it's been a day, like the way they were like structured the thing. But it probably has been like not years as a plural, but it probably has been like half a year or something. Like I could buy that.
So I can buy they did it. They could have shown that a little bit better, or just tossed in a line, like maybe a little forced. But the old lady could have said, "Oh yeah, you learned a lot over this past however many months or whatever."
Or just cut to them like in action, like they're obviously in a routine, which they kind of did, but like the characters look identical to how they did before, and the environment they were in looked the same. So definitely, if you didn't have that on your brain, it definitely seemed like. And then they walked down the path into the town and went forward. You know, that's just kind of what it felt like. But I think there is supposed to be a time skip.
So give me on that. I did not expect the old woman to be the character we get out of that arc to continue the story with.
No. She seemed like the most likely to die.
Yes.
She's the one.
No, I saw someone mention this on a forum I reading for this anime season stuff. Like a lineup from the last arc. Imagine the bear, Corona, March, and the old lady, I forget her name, in a lineup. And the old lady's the one who is the one who continues on with the story.
I think it's hilarious, and it makes it more interesting from again. This whole show is just very interesting writing prompts. Like they did that whole arc, and they're like, "Cool, you got to keep the story going with your like least developed character," and it's like that makes it interesting. You know, it's like, well, now we gotta see what that dynamic's like, because they basically had not interacted like hardly at all before this. It's like.
Yeah, just kind of knew the name, and she knew the basis of his abilities somewhat.
Yeah.
Her just reaction when he came in March's form and like, what the fuck? You thought you were dead.
And it was a very visceral reaction. I liked how she was like angry that she's like, yeah, you're a cute girl, or whatever. But it's like, do you realize how like shit this has been for me? I'm like dying out here. Like when she thought it was just March. Yeah. Like I think her stuff was good, and I ended up liking their like relationship like that. They're like codependent relationship. It's like I like when he was March throwing the fruit to her, like he looked pissed. It's like, oh, he got angry. She's like, fuck, take the fucking fruit, stupid old lady.
That's so good.
And creepy yellow eye Marches, creepy.
Yeah,
very creepy
and sad.
That's sad, very sad.
I love the arrow was still in her for like all that time.
Ugh.
Like he comes back as the moment she dies, so it's just the arrow sticking out of him.
What? And then we got a freaking like Pokemon battle. I said like whenever he got his last form stolen, I'm like, oh, he's on his last Pokemon.
Yeah, we got, I guess, an overall series antagonist, I guess.
I guess so.
Dropped on us. I didn't exactly expect that.
And I also didn't expect the narrator to be a character that would walk in season.
Well, I knew,
6 or whatever, you know.
I could have seen him particularly coming up because I think they do say like he is the guy who just kind of dropped the Fushi on there. So he was obviously more than a narrator. So
I knew that he was the guy that created them, but I still thought that he was probably gonna mostly just be like the narrator. I didn't expect him to be a character walking around interacting with the plot.
I expected it potentially because I know this goes on for so long. Him potentially coming up at some point. Maybe not this soon.
Yeah,
but
there's a chance for Fushi to die now. There's like not like guaranteed life.
Yeah, which I like that there's an enemy that can steal pretty much his memories and experiences and all that.
Yeah, and we were talking about like how like I think we all had faith that they would manage to do this, but we're like the one maybe worry is he's immortal, so how do you keep that interesting going forward? And this is one of the answers: is he's not the only magical thing out there.
Yeah,
and like again, writing prompt like this is just it's like, oh, what's an interesting thing for this immortal shape-shifting thing to go against? Something that can steal all of its power, like steal all of its things so it can't shapeshift anymore or whatever. And like and for its final form to be this little girl that's not very strong, and he has to make his way out of that anyway. It's just like, it's very interesting.
Yeah, and introducing with Godman being like, hey, there's a reason to drop you here. There's a plan that's gonna we're gonna do. We'll worry about that later. You go have fun, kid.
Go get stimulation.
Oh,
You have like 3 more arcs before we touch in on this
Yeah.
plot anyway. Like,
I can't remember, Alex, if we actually mentioned this, but it's something I've been wondering. The guy who voices God, he's the sniper from Golden Kamuy, right?
I think so. He sounds exactly like
Yeah, I
him.
think it is him. Which I love his voice, so I'm all for it.
Oh yeah, it's such a great voice. He's like Ogata.
Yeah.
Ogata is my favorite character in Golden's community.
Yeah. So that's awesome. But yeah, I like what this episode did. Yeah, showing like this show's going to continue to be unpredictable with all this. This didn't go in direction we wanted to. Opened up, like we said, the stakes for this orb. For the actual for Fushi himself more than just the people around him, which is nice.
and like this episode was way more like Fushi's episode, whereas I think in the past he's been like just an element that was used to facilitate other people's arcs.
And I'm okay with them going ahead and giving them the ability to speak generally early, so they don't keep on hanging on of he's just kind of there.
Yeah,
He's a part of what's going on, but he's still kind of a bystander. At least now that he can talk and everything, and kind of has more thoughts of his own, he'll be able to impact more of what's actually going on more than just turning into a giant bear and killing.
That was probably gonna get old. I mean, they probably could have kept it going on longer, but that was gonna get old at some point. With just him like, oh no, this guy can't talk. Like, what this guy's so weird, Yeah, and like I also didn't, kind of like you were saying, I didn't expect. I expected eventually we would probably get to some like grander thing that we're going against, but I didn't necessarily expect like to meet the antagonizing force that's probably going to be going forward like the span of this show now.
Yeah.
I was expecting more like smaller like individual arcs, which I still definitely think is going to happen. But like where
I imagine it's going to be one of those cases where it's always there and maybe kind of there in the background. There might be some arcs where it's more involved than others, but I expect there to be some arcs varying in size where that antagonistic force is non-existent. Like it's just not there while this stuff's going on.
Like, for lack of many good examples, like Cowboy Bebop has like a cool overarching plot, but like most of the episodes don't touch on it at all. Like most of the episodes are doing other things, but then like every 6 episodes or so they'll like
Like next episode we're probably just gonna find out what's up with this little chameleon mask kid.
Yep.
Yeah. And again, not for sorry if it's spoilers for y'all or whatever, but I definitely in the intro spotted March in that weird wood form that we saw all the other things, but we didn't see March in. So like that guy's, I mean, and obviously he's coming back, but like that person's definitely coming back.
Oh, well, I feel like the intro also likes to bait you with things that don't like kind of happen, but don't really, like Adult March.
This
That's
is
in the intro.
Dude.
There's also some characters they show off that are zombies. Like they show them like in their as humans, and they show them as zombies as well. So I'm expecting when the zombies do come, maybe it's not exactly those characters that do become these zombies. Maybe it's different characters.
Well, I know that intro. Yeah, they could be all bait and switches. Are getting more and more spoilery at the point. Do I want to watch this?
Yeah. But
Great intro, banging song, but
yeah, it is.
Yep.
But I mean, I've yet to piece it together. But it's usually just been such an overload of information that I usually don't necessarily. And like Alex said, last week's had Adult March, and that was like completely a lie. And even this week, I saw like whenever we were watching the intro, it was like, Jeff, I think I just saw an undead looking monster version of March, and I'm sad. And then immediately when the show started going, I'm like, okay. I was like, when it took over the boy's body, I'm like, okay, that's the thing I saw, but it was of March. So yeah, again, it was another kind of like bait and switch, but it's interesting. It's just super.
And it can still come back and take March. Who knows?
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be like a 1 episode thing, probably.
No.
Yes. Yeah, so this show can still be literally anything. And it's cool to see they did like a very human stories or whatever, but it's like, But we'll also touch into some crazy like, there's also gods and weird demons and stuff that are coming in here doing like this show can be whatever the fuck they want it to be, and it'll make sense, you know.
Yep.
In the world they've created.
It's just someone's D&D campaign.
Essentially, yes. Like,
so good.
that could be an interesting D&D prospect. Like you have this like immortal orb, and it's like that's the only constant. Your party might wipe, but the orb will continue on.
The orb is an NPC.
Yeah.
And then, but you keep having super hard encounters that keeps them wiping around the orb. But
That
you
could
keep
actually
telling
be
the
pretty
story.
good.
Dude, it could be.
That could be very
It's just
good.
the players keep every like session or every like a month they bring new characters to the table and they play around the orb. This emotionless orb, so the characters still drive the story like in this, but the orb.
Damn. 2-year eternity D&D campaign, man. Well, that's the end of our podcast.
It is. We are down to 5 now. Half of them are gone with Tokyo Revengers sunsetting.
But I do have a feeling that next week is going to be the first week we don't kill anything, because I do think we have a.
I mean, I can't really speak for myself, but it's with the shows we got left. I imagine you guys feel similarly. Like these shows have to fall off a cliff or just have a string of like bad episodes for me to kill things at this point.
I would say for the rest of the season, it's just gonna be us talking about how good these shows are, which is fine.
Yeah, I think
but
so too.
there is no suspense in killing anything.
Which y'all did say. Y'all said in previous FMKs they like almost never had like this many anime that they wanted to keep to the end, right? Because
this is usually about where they stopped. I think usually like 3 to 5 is usually.
I feel like they tapped out like as far as surviving maybe 4 one time, and that was with maybe a show like coming before. I don't know. Yeah. 3 or 4 is usually where they tap out. Like as far as the most they.
And they usually have a very extensive, like just extensive. We had like just process as well, trying to get shows in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, weirdly enough, even though I just said earlier that I think right now I think 86 is probably number 3 over Megalo Box for me in my rankings, but I still do that. I think the 2 shows that have a possibility, like they're not anywhere close to it now, but that have a possibility of like falling off enough to be cut by the end is 86 and Shadow's House. I think just because they're the ones that are more like. They're more like hiding what the actual show is about. And if that answer is super unsatisfying or whatever, when they like drop the other curtain, like it could happen. I don't think it will at all.
Yeah. Well, I feel like, again,
this
is me speaking for me, and I imagine you guys are similar, is once we get again, unless it got really, really bad, once we get to a certain point close to the end of the season, it's like, okay, I don't care. I'm going to see this through.
Yeah.
Like, 86 has 11 episodes. Unless it gets really bad in the next episode or 2, we're going to see it through.
Oh, I agree. Yeah. And I'm loving it right now. Yeah, to be very clear. I mean, I legitimately do think all 5 of these will be there at the end. It's just like, you know, I think the 2-year eternity, Odd Taxi, and Megalo Box are just like 100% locks. Like, you know, like just because, especially with the 3 of us. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, partner.
Watch anime.
Yep. See you next week.
Bye.